Sometimes life has to break us open before it can reveal what's really inside. Today's guest literally fell down a mountain, and what could have been the end became the beginning of an extraordinary new chapter. Through human design, Jonathan McLean helps people see their hidden strengths, embrace their unique blueprint, and live aligned with who they really are. This is his story. Jonathan is a guide, speaker, and founder of Osprey Guide, where he helps people unlock their potential through human design. His journey has been anything but conventional. Surviving a mountain fall, rebuilding from rock bottom, and discovering a path that blends resilience, self discovery, and radical acceptance. He's been featured on podcasts like The Projector Life and Human Design Conversations, and he's known for his ability to shine a light on the superpowers we often overlook in ourselves. Jonathan, welcome to Attention as a Currency. Great to have you on the show today.
Thank you very much for having me. It's awesome to be here.
And we're looking forward to hearing your story. Today, I'm twisting my tongue today. I don't know. I'm skipping the pizza. Been talking all week, but I want to make sure.
Yeah, I do that too sometimes. It's like I just want to say this one thing, and then my tongue just gets twisted. So totally
get where they know that the episode is filmed and it's all real, it's all raw. We're not scripted here. Well, we're only scripted in the questions to make sure that we get the most value out of Jonathan on the call today. But,
for sure.
But I'll get stuck in because take us back to the moment. What happened on the mountain and how did it reshape the way you saw life?
I'll start with the first part. What happened on the mountain?
Yes.
Well, I was on this trek around what's called the Annapurna circuit, and it's supposed to be a 3-week long trek or 2.5 week long. And on that day it was 10 of us, just fellow travelers from all around the world. And as I was going along, we went over a landslide area, and next thing I know, the next memory I've got is me in a hospital in Kathmandu. There's about a week of memory that I've lost, and the morning of that day when I fell, no memory except for one split second as I was crossing a bridge with high wind, suspension bridge, and then another moment when I was just in the moment of falling. And right as I was falling, I've got this memory that this voice came to me and said, just let go. And I let go, and then I tumbled and I fell and cracked my skull open, dislocated my elbow and shoulder, and then lying on the bottom of this mountain, I was paralyzed on 3 limbs, unable to fend for myself. And then I really came into this moment of having to receive. I had lived almost all of my life of being a people pleaser and giving and giving and giving to this point where I was, instead of giving from an overflowing cup, I was just continuing to diminish that cup within myself. So this moment, this time in my life gave me an opportunity to refill and then do my best to live from an overflowing cup instead. So that's been the biggest shift is, right, I don't have to give and give and give and give to receive love.
Yeah. Wow. It's actually very relatable for my week. But, I'll tell you about that afterwards. But you really, you sort of answered into our next question because you said that you've said before that falling became a catalyst and a way to force you to look deeper, and you've really, you really answered that in that intro. So I'll move to the next one. Was there a point where you thought I may not come back from this?
No. Um, Somehow my mind has some kind of weird glitch going on that me not succeeding is just not in my design. It's just I so for some reason I'm always like, oh yes, the grass is greener, there's the silver lining on the clouds, somehow it's going to work out. So I kept going and going. Obviously, there were times when I was feeling very discouraged. I remember one night after I'd seen the doctor, where he told me that my left arm would probably never heal up and never work properly again after the nerve damage that I'm still healing from at this point in time. And that hit me very, very hard, and sobbed and cried a lot that night. And other than that, it's been very, very, yeah, very blue skies. I know that there's clouds, but above the clouds is the blue sky, and the sun is always shining no matter what. And I'm just trying to remember that.
Yeah. Wow. No, it's a powerful mindset, and we all try to embody that. But yeah, it's definitely not always easy because we are human.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
And
but that brings yeah, because then we go to for those new to it, what is human design and why does it matter?
mm. Yeah, so human design is a pretty new system. It's only been around for 38 years now. Came out in January of 1987 from this guy who was living in um, on an island in the Mediterranean, and he put together 5 different systems. So the chakra system, astrology, the I Ching, the ancient I Ching, then quantum physics, and the Kabbalist tree of life. All of those come together and create different bits of information that we get to then use and integrate into our life. And with the very, very, very tip of the iceberg that we can see and that we actually is useful to work with, are the energy types and the authorities that come through this system. So everyone has a unique energy type, one of the 5, and then one of the authorities. So how you're supposed to show up in the world and how you're supposed to be working in the world. And then the second, the authority, is how to make the decisions when operating in the world. For myself, I'm a projector, and the way I'm supposed to show up in the world is to wait for invitations. Obviously, that's not a very classically taught thing. We're always taught to go out there and, get what you want and just push forward, right?
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to do that. I'm supposed to wait for things to come to me and then for me to decide, oh, is this actually something that I'm going to pursue and continue on with? And that's where the authorities come in. So the main one with waiting for the invitation, that's really what has shifted my life a lot, since human design came into my life, and that was only about 6 or 7 years ago. And I've been teaching and doing readings with human design for the last 3 or 4 years now. And before, I was very much trying to push and be able to initiate those different things. And I kept coming up to roadblocks at left, right, and center. I'd get into a job and be like, yes, this is going to be great. This is going to be fantastic. The pay is good, and all the benefits are good amount of holiday time. And then within about 3 to 6 months, I would start burning out. And once I started working with human design, I let go, I relaxed a little bit, and I looked back in my life and I'm like, oh, everything that's really worked well for me has come through somebody else opening the door for me, or somebody saying, come in, we'll have a conversation, and then we'll take it from there. So the projectors specifically are supposed to live by invitations with income, so jobs or business, relationships, and where to live. And right now, I am living all three of those through invitations. My business, I started with an invitation. The different courses that I've got started through an invitations. And then the relationship I'm in, also invitation, and where I'm living. It's so much easier to live this way. And I encourage, highly encourage people to live by their own energy type and authorities.
Yeah, well, it sounds so powerful because I've often described, but well, it's interesting because it sounds like it's based on a bit of ancient wisdom as well. By the sounds, it's a modern day advancement on the ancient wisdom. And
Exactly.
it's quite new. It's only a year older than me, so it's
Right.
it is quite new. But yeah, and on my other comment on that is because I'm listening and I'm thinking, well, normally I describe myself as like a bull at a gate, and I'm always a push. So yeah, we definitely want to dive deeper into it. I'm fascinated on this because
Yeah,
it's
and some people are designed to, to just go. And, I wouldn't be surprised if you were one of those types where, you're just supposed to be getting out there and producing and initiating things. And we need people like you, we need people like me, we need everyone out there that has, their little thing to offer to the world.
you got to focus on those strengths is the solid thing. Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
and you've studied hundreds of charts. What's the most surprising truth you've seen people discover about themselves?
The most surprising thing. Hmm.
Because it seems like you sort of had an inkling that yeah something was that you were supposed to live in a certain way by the sounds. But I because I'm just making we're not doubling over the same question. It's I think there's a
Right.
yeah
So everyone, yeah, has one of those five energy types, right? So when people find that out about themselves, usually there's a pretty major shift that happens right around then.
yeah.
And then also there are different other indicators in the chart, in the human design chart, that will that almost kind of allow people to just be themselves. For example, my fiance is what's called a manifesting generator, the one type that is really supposed to be multitaskers. And she had always been like, oh, well, I'm not supposed to multitask, right? I'm supposed to just stay focused on one task, and that's it. And I looked at her chart and I said, hey, like, you're supposed to be you're supposed to be multitasking. And it just, something in her clicked, and it just it just opened this natural ability within her that she wasn't trying to stifle anymore. And I see that all the time, where I look at the chart and I say, hey, this is actually, like, have you found this? Yes, this is actually true for you. Like, please give us more of this, because this is your superpower.
Well, I think it's just because I think it also comes down to that we're all so unique, and we're all trying to do this one thing and be like everyone else. Because
Yeah,
yeah, because and really, well, as it's really it seems like it's permission to be ourselves. Very much in
absolutely.
this because yeah, a lot of people. It's like the difference between a morning and a night person, and when do you perform the best? And everyone,
Right.
yeah, because well, we were always told as on the entrepreneurial side, as you've moved into the entrepreneurial side, you've got to get up at
4:30 in the morning and you already got to be working before everyone else, or you're never going to be successful, which is it's not
Right.
really necessarily true if you don't perform well at 4:30 in the morning.
Exactly. Yeah. I've got a friend that works really well somewhere between 9 o'clock at night and 1 o'clock in the morning. And do it.
Yeah.
Go and just, perform at your best at the time that works best for you. So yeah, it's amazing to look at each individual chart and see the beauty in everyone. If everyone that has their chart.
What do you think people get stuck focusing on what's wrong with them instead of what's right?
Well, all of our life, we've been told to, do certain things a certain way, kind of just like you had mentioned just a second ago, right? And well, we need to do that in our lives at very, very young age, right out of the womb. If we don't operate in a way that is going to be okay for the people around us, we don't survive. So I think on a very, very subconscious level, there is that survival instinct. And of course, we're going to want to conform to how our family does things and how our tribe does things and how our community does things, even though it doesn't serve us or everybody else. But I think that's where it all starts. And then if if we aren't aware of that, it just grows out of control.
And how do you start to help someone to reframe their story and see their so-called flaws as part of their strength? Where's the
Mm,
starting point? Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I love that question. One thing that I so one of my superpowers is gratitude and focusing in on what people can be grateful for. For myself, uh, having grown up with the need of being a people pleaser, I started to reframe that within myself to say, okay, I had to do this. Thank you to the part of me that did that, that did the people pleasing, that was able to do what was necessary at that point in time in my life so that I could survive. And now that that time is over, I get to let it go. And now I get to move into the situation that I want to move into, which is being more authentically myself and and then, move forward in whatever way I want to, because that's going to be the best for me as well as everybody else. So keeping that kind of sense in mind, I try to share that with whomever I'm coaching at that point in time. So if somebody says to me, "Oh, well, I'm just so used to well, what well, people pleasing is just the easiest one for me to give as an example. But let's use the multitasking. Well, I was always, shamed for, having 1,000 things on the go. I don't do that because I'm safer this way, right? I
Yeah.
can I can be better when I'm doing one thing at a time. And I'm like, well, here's your chart. You're supposed to be a multitasker. Let's look at where that came from. Let's look at why you chose to just focus on one task. Okay, well, when you were a kid, when you were, 4 years old, 5 years old, maybe mom and dad said, you know, don't do that, right? And
Yeah.
if you go against what mom and dad say, well, there's a chance that you might die, right? Not in a physical sense, but or potentially a physical sense, but to the child, the inner 5-year-old, that life or death is so impactful. And then get to say, okay, thank you for showing me what it was like to single focus, to work on one task at a time. I appreciate that. Now let's move into my true design and my authentic design.
Very
So,
much in our formative years there.
yes, yeah. So a lot of my focus is on, yeah, that gratitude as well as what shaped us into who we are today.
Well, very present. I'm hearing a lot of you. You're being present in where we are at the moment instead of uh, the past. But I love I always love that letting go thing. I practiced some of that because saw that show with Marie Kondo, and I don't know if
Mm,
you've seen it, but she declutters and you thank the item before you throw it away. So I guess
right.
that's very much. It's not just a one purpose type strategy. It's
Yes.
very much versatile. Can you
Yeah,
share
absolutely.
sorry, I yeah, can you share a powerful moment when human design completely shifted a perspective for a client?
Mm. I I remember when I had one client come in, and she was just so used to showing up in places where and then all of a sudden, like, things would shift, and there seemed to be no steady ground for her to be on. And I looked at her chart, and she has the some call it the incarnation cross, some call it the life theme. I prefer life theme because it sounds nicer. She has the life theme of the unexpected. And looking at her chart, I said, like, look, you're supposed to be going into these any situation, and then the unexpected happens. And then at that point in time, it was just like a light bulb went off in her, and she goes, "Oh, okay." So all of the different things lined up and made sense. And then as a result, she was able to move forward with that as part of her superpower. And it was amazing to see just that transition, that light bulb moment.
It's when you know thyself best.
Exactly, exactly.
So after everything you've been through, what role does mindset play in healing and thriving now?
Mm. Well, mindset is everything. Um, Absolutely everything. if you if I think negative thoughts, like for example, like the last 2 or 3 days, I was in a major funk, and thank goodness I'm well on my way to moving out of that now. I just kept going back to where's my mindset and what is important for me to focus on. For example, back in high school, I was um, I had this thought in my mind that I really don't like the word hate. And so I consciously decided to cut that word out of my life. And next thing I know, I'm saying hate way less. I'm looking at things less hatefully with less of that intensity. And within 6 months, I was barely even thinking the word hate. And transition that to anything in one's life. If I look at the world from a place of there's just evil in the world, somebody's out to get me, somebody's out there to like make my life hell. Well, guess what? I'm going to see that. I'm going to keep looking for that. As the idea of, closing your eyes and thinking of the color red, and then remembering all the color red that you saw in the room. Well, that's where your attention goes. And then if you say, well, what about the color green? You're like, oh, Right. Was there any color green in the room that I'm sitting in? It's just mindset, pushes the where the perspective goes.
Well, every setback and redirect is just a redirection to something better.
Yeah, exactly. We've got that choice every single moment.
How important is it staying open minded when life feels unpredictable or even unfair? Probably.
Um, I'd say that it's probably one of the most important things. Well, if you don't stay open-minded, and if you're stuck on one thing, it's like that mindset of like, well, life is hateful, life is hurtful, and if the mindset is closed, you I can't grow from that. Nobody can grow from that. That a closed mindset is like a closed seed. Yes, it's very important when the apple falls down from the tree, but then once the seed is in the ground, it's got to break open to be able to evolve. And that cracking open is that's one of the most pivotal things of being able to go, okay, I'm releasing my old way of being, and what tree can grow out of this seed that was once closed.
You'd be missing the opportunities if you're not looking for them. It's and
Yeah.
for someone listening right now, what's one thing they can do today to start aligning with their design?
Mm. Find out your energy type and start living as closely in alignment with that. And that's just the one basic step. So if you're a generator or a manifesting generator, responding. So if you see something, oh, I I see this, the beautiful nature. Oh, maybe I should go for a walk. Oh yes, go for a walk. Or if you're a manifester and that you've got that initiating energy and you just want to do something, just go ahead and move towards doing that. If you're a projector, I already mentioned, waiting for that invitation, and then reflectors, when you're living and you're looking at the different possibilities in front of you, wait for that 28-day cycle. Wait that 28 days and then move forward or leave it be. So that's the very first step that I suggest to everybody.
Finding the energy type, yes. And
Yeah.
and how do you recommend people use human design in day to day life, not just theory but practice?
Mm. Very, very similar to what I had just said. And then also taking into account the strategy, so the decision making. So not just, oh, I should go out for a walk because it's a beautiful day and I want to respond to that nature, but then also making that proper, according to human design, the proper decisions and how to respond to that, or how to wait for the invitation and then accept those invitations or not. That's that's a whole nother topic that we could probably spend an hour on, just going through every one of those different authorities.
No, it's yeah. I know that it's very comprehensive work that you're doing. It's not just a one. Yeah, it's not a one time fix. Essentially,
Right.
there's a lot of variables, and for each person, everyone's unique, and undoubtedly. And what's one piece of wisdom you wish you'd had before the mountain fall?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Careful what you wish for.
Uh, uh,
I remember sitting on the airplane on my way to Nepal, and the one phrase that kept coming into mind was, I am going to experience whatever I can experience to have the most amount of personal growth possible. I got what I asked for. So really careful with your words. Yeah.
It is, yeah. Well, I always like the saying, not necessarily a religious thing. It could be the universe or God. It is. I wished for courage, so God gave me challenges to be courageous, and I wish for bravery, so I got the opportunity to be brave. So it's
Yeah.
very accurate. It's yeah. And for anyone listening at the moment, Jonathan, how could they start the journey with you? How can they connect?
Best place is ospreyguide.com. And there's ways to contact me on there, easy enough. So best is to just go right to there and connect with me. Look at all of the different resources I've got, at the different courses as well, and yeah, just drop in and say hi.
Yes, and also Jonathan has given us a discount code. So if you'd like to jump in any of his courses, this is a very fascinating topic. I've done a lot of personal development over the years, but I'm not as familiar with this one. But it is fascinating. I like it. It's a very hybrid personal development for the modern day world. It's
The main course, yeah, the main course that I just released is what's called the relationship preparation course. And there's two main relationships that, in my mind, are the most important. First is the relationship with yourself. And then the second is your intimate relationship with your partner or with your partner to be at some point in time. Every other relationship just kind of falls into place after those two are solidified. So the relationship preparation course is 99 days long, and you dive into your relationship with yourself, your history, like all of that childhood things, all of those formative years, and then get to heal all of that, and then move into building the foundation from there to yeah, have the best relationship with yourself and with others. So those two codes that you'd or the two codes that I've got are the currency 20 for the first 20 people that sign up to any course that I've got, and then currency 10 for the first 100 people for 10% off for any course as well.
perfect, and they sound fantastic courses because I always think you've always got to be you got to love yourself before somebody else, and that's because and relationships are well, they're more fragile than ever, and to do that personal development and to grow and really to take that next leap and grow together from there is you'd probably want your partner to be doing the course at the same time.
Yes, yeah. Or if you're single, you can just do it yourself,
Yeah, well,
and yeah,
well then you're attracting the right partner because you're already in touch with yourself.
exactly.
Perfect. And Jonathan, we're up to our signature close question now. Of course, we're going to put your website and so on in our description. But if attention is the currency, what should people stop wasting it on, or what should they start investing it in?
Mm. Oh, going back to the rest of the conversation that we just had, to stop wasting the attention on, how am I supposed to live, and how I'm designed, or how people wanted me to live in the past, be it through, actual words coming out of their mouths or just by demonstration. Not paying attention to that as much, and then instead paying attention to who you are at your core, and yeah, maybe starting to meditate as well. Those are the two things that I would suggest to pay attention to instead and invest in.
That's perfect. Golden knowledge to end on. Jonathan McClean, story reminds us that sometimes we have to fall, literally or figuratively,
because we can see what we're truly made of. His work with human design shows that every person has unique strengths waiting to be unlocked. So you can connect with Jonathan and explore his work through Osprey Guide on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. If this conversation resonated, share it with someone who needs a reminder. You're not broken. You're built for something extraordinary. Thank you again, Jonathan. And
Thank you.
yes, and thank you everyone for joining us on another episode of Attention is the Currency.